The PMI has just launched a new platform for trustee accreditation, and to discuss what the implications are, I'm joined now by Gareth Tancred. He is CEO at the PMI. Well, Gareth, let's start at the beginning. Why should professional trustees get accreditation in the first place?
Well, very simply, Mark, it's the gold standard that professional trustees can now aspire for. But to put some context behind that, the pension regulator has a mission which is to make sure that members' outcomes are improved all the time. And part of that is to improve trustee standards, raise the bar, if you like, of those trustee standards. So about 3 years ago now, a group was set up, the Professional Trustee Standards Working Group, to come up with a set of standards. PMI was part of that, as were the regulator and others. And that set of standards has been in existence for about a year now. So once trustees become accredited, then they can be sure that that is now the new gold standard, and scheme sponsors, members of those schemes, even members of the public, can have confidence that professional trustees with that accreditation are governing those schemes in the very best possible ways.
So to be clear, this isn't compulsory, but it's best practice.
Yes, that's right. The regulator at this stage has decided not to mandate it, but the regulator hopes that professional trustees will see the wisdom of wanting to become accredited, and that they will want to do that over the next year or two.
So tell us a bit more about the PMI's specific offering in this space.
Well, the PMI has worked very closely with a number of bodies in this area, and as I mentioned a moment or two ago, the Professional Trustee Standards Working Group that came up with these standards, once that group had finished its work and handed the standards over to the APPT, the Association for Professional Pension Trustees, we were asked at that time to come up with a programme to help deliver that accreditation. So the standards are parked over here. The APPT will continue to make sure that they are relevant and update them on an annual basis. And what we've done is taken those standards and broken them down into each of their core units to be able to test professional trustees against each of those competency areas. So, for example, they'll have to be able to prove that they've passed a basic criminal records check. They'll have to be able to prove that they've done the trustee toolkit, or if they don't have a certificate, at least to be able to attest that they've done the toolkit. They'll have to at least have taken the award in pension trusteeship exam, and a new exam which will test their soft skills abilities. They'll have to have done that as well. That's part of a set of exams. They'll also have to have done a fit and proper person test. That's a smaller part, if you like, of the regulator's master trust fit and proper person test. And also to provide 2 credible references from people within the industry. And once they've done all of that, the accreditation will be assessed, and it can then be issued, and they will achieve that gold standard of accreditation. We will give them a digital certificate to prove that accreditation, and a paper one if they want to hang on the wall. And then each year they'll have to attest to the fact that they are still fit and proper, and also to prove that they've undertaken at least 25 hours of CPD, of which 15 has to be structured.
But the bulk of this is going to be delivered online, is it?
Yes, it is. And one of the benefits of that is that we'll also be able to fulfil one of the regulator's requests to provide an online register of accredited professional trustees. And once again, that register should give confidence back to sponsors, members of schemes, and the general public, if necessary, that the people that are putting themselves out there as accredited professional trustees do hold that badge.
You mentioned a little earlier a new exam on soft skills. So what are some of these new education initiatives that are coming through as you look to raise standards?
Well, we've long had the award in pension trusteeship, and that's been around now for a number of years. There's, of course, some learning material that goes with that before people are examined on it. But one of the things that the standards group realised is that trustees' soft skills need to be improved in many cases, and also to be benchmarked and measured. So we've developed a soft skills exam. So the APT exam is now unit 1 of a 2-unit exam, which is now the certificate in pension trusteeship. Unit 1 being the award in pension trusteeship, the test of knowledge, and unit 2 being the test of soft skills. So that's the basic component of the standards. But of course, we realise that the regulator thinks that trustee education is incredibly important, which it is, and that was brought out in their consultation recently, and we'll see more and more of this. So some of the things that we can bring to the table to help that offering is not only some of the insight that we offer through our events. We have a trustee-specific event, the award-winning Trustee Workbench Conference every summer. But we also produce insight. We produce technical updates for trustees. And one of the things that we will be doing is doing a more deep dive with some of our webinars as well. We know that professional trustees really like and really need some of that deep technical knowledge as well. So we'll be doing a lot more of that as well as networking events, etc., etc.
I can see getting the accreditation and then maintaining it is a lot of work, a lot of effort on the behalf of individuals. If you're a professional trustee, what do you get out of doing all this?
Well, apart from getting that gold standard, that badge of accreditation, one of the things that we bring to the table is, of course, the credibility of an organisation like the PMI. We've been doing programmes like this for a number of years. Our exams are Ofqual regulated. We've run accreditation programmes for the FCA. So you have that confidence that the programme that we're offering meets those kinds of standards. On top of that, we're also geared up when something goes wrong as well. So if somebody wants to appeal an accreditation that may have been failed, or if somebody wants to whistleblow, for example, or maybe there's a disciplinary issue, we already have those kind of governance structures in place that help us to jump onto those kind of things straight away. On top of that, we of course have the experienced teams. We have some brand new systems that we're putting in place that give robustness, data protection, security to all of that very important data. So there's some of the things that professional trustees can benefit from with the PMI programme.
Isn't this all going to be rather expensive?
You'd think so, with the amount of work that we've put into it. We've tried to pitch this at a level that offers real value for money to professional trustees. Nobody likes to have to spend more money on things, and we're very conscious of that. The regulator has said a couple of things in this respect. First of all, that this programme must be sustainable. The fact that people have to be reattested every year shows that this programme has to be in place for a period of time. Yeah. So we're pitching it at a level where it can be sustainable, but it's also comparable with other licenses to practice as well. In fact, in many cases, it's cheaper than other professional licenses to practice. So we don't see that it's expensive. We see that it's real good value for money. But one thing is absolutely certain, Mark, and that is we're not going to compromise on the quality just to drive down the cost.
So what does it cost?
Good question. The cost for accreditation in the first year is £500, and the cost of re-accreditation every year will also be £500. But if you want to take advantage of coming to us for maybe a 3-year period, we'll offer you that accreditation in the first year for £250, and that then gets you on the journey, if you like, and then we'll reattest you every year after that.
There's a little bit of confusion. Some people seem to think there are 2 separate accreditation frameworks. Is that the case?
I can see why some people might think that, Mark, but the reality is there's one framework. There may be different organisations offering accreditation, but the framework is the same. Let's just go back a little bit. When the Professional Trustee Standards Working Group came up with these standards, the standards were handed over to the APPT for custodianship and maintenance on an ongoing basis, and they're doing that. And we were asked about 12 months ago now to deliver a programme against those standards. That's what we've launched. Now, it may very well be that other organisations choose to launch an accreditation service against those standards. And in fact, you do see that in other industries as well. You know, one set of standards and multiple accreditation bodies. You can even compare it with education, for example. You and I may both have the same A-level, but it might have been issued by a separate awarding or accrediting body. But it's based on the same curriculum, and therefore the standard is the same. I think what's important to remember here is that whilst other people may wish to launch their own accreditation processes, one of the things that we're trying to do, not just with our online offering, but with all of the education that we provide around it, is that we are trying to support TPR's mission of helping to improve member outcomes.
Gareth Tancred, thank you.
Thank you.